So today in this we will study about osteoporosis. Osteo refers to the term bones and porosis means pores. So in osteoporosis, basically there will be a increased breakdown in compared to formation. So the bone breakdown is more compared to formation, which will lead to the porosis, that is the osteoporosis. Basically in osteoporosis there will be a reduced bones and density. Because of the reduced bones density, that will result into the bone fragility, that increases the bone fragility, that in turn causes the makes the bone susceptible to fracture. Okay, that is osteoporosis. Basically in osteoporosis there will be a reduced bone density. Let's just see the basic structure of this bone, that is the cross section of this bone. It has got the outer hard layer of cortical bone. This is the cross section of bone where there is the outer hard layer, that is the cortical bone, and the inner spongy bone, that's called as the spongy bone or the trabecular bone. This is the central part, and then these trabecular bone is made up of the trabeculus, okay, here, which gives the it's a framework of the spongy bone, which supports this structure, okay. And then these hard bone, the outer layer, it has made up of several osteons here, okay. All these are osteons. This osteon, in detail, when we see this, it looks like a tree rings here, okay. The center part of this osteon is called as the Haversian canal. This is the Haversian canal, which actually supplies the blood, and it's the innervation here. Okay, so this is the central part of this osteons of the cortical bone here, and then we have here the lamellae here. These lamellae have got the organic part as a collagen here, and the inorganic part as a hydroxyapatite, which is of calcium phosphate. Okay, so in between these lamellae we have got these lacunae. Okay, these are the lacunae which contain the osteocytes, that's the bone cells. Okay, so these laculae which are there in the lamellae have got the osteocytes, that's the bone cells here. Okay, this is the basic cross section of the bone. So usually the whatever the bones we have, that is the spongy bone and the compact bone, they are regularly replaced every 3 to 4 years. Spongy bones will be replaced, whereas the compact bones usually will be replaced every 10 years. So this process of replacing these bones is called as a bone remodeling. This bone remodeling usually occurs through two steps, that is the bone resorption and the bone formation. There are certain cells in our body or the bones which are called as osteoclasts. The main function of this osteoclast is the bone resorption. The breaking down of the bone takes place by the osteoclast cells, whereas the osteoformation, the formation of bones, takes place by the osteoblast cells. Now this overall process of remodeling specially depends mainly on the serum calcium levels, okay, and in turn this serum calcium levels are controlled by parathyroid hormone, calcitonin, and vitamin D. Okay, so basically whenever there is a low level of calcium in the blood, low serum calcium, this will stimulate the thyroid gland to release parathyroid hormone. So this parathyroid hormone, in response to the low CO, will this parathyroid hormone stimulate the bone resorption. So due to the bone breakdown or the resorption, more calcium is released into the blood, which increases the calcium level. Increased calcium level in turn produces the calcitonin by the thyroid gland. So the main function of this calcitonin, which is released in response to the high serum calcium by the thyroid gland, is that it inhibits the resorption, inhibits the function of prothrombin of resorption, and it stimulates the formation of the bones. So that's how it is balanced, that the parathyroid hormone increases the resorption, which by and releases more calcium in the blood. The calcitonin, which is produced by the thyroid gland in response to the high serum calcium, will inhibit the prothrombin function of resorption, and it stimulate the bone formation. So in and the finally vitamin D. Vitamin D main function is that it increases the absorption of calcium by the guts. Okay, which in turn will increase the calcium level in the serum, which in turn increases the calcitonin function, and that's how it increases the bone formation. Okay, altogether that all leads to the peak bone mass. Okay, increase. So usually this peak bone mass, it's observed peak. You can observe it by the age of 29, and this occurs early in females compared to the male. And the peak bone mass is affected by some of the factors like genetics. Genetics, like in Africans, the peak bone mass is more in Africans. And coming to the nutrition, some of the nutritions which have got higher content of vitamin D will increase the bone mass. And a regular exercising or strengthening training practice, which also increases the bone mass. Okay, and some of the hormones like estrogen and androgen, they will inhibit the they'll inhibit the resorption process. Okay, these are some of the factors which affects the bone mass. Now in osteoporosis, basically what happens is that the cells will be normal, but there will be an increased mineralization. So some of the changes that leads that happens in bone due to the osteoporosis is that there will be a fewer trabeculus, that is the center spongy bone that has the trabeculus. So there will be a reduced number of trabeculus, okay, after the osteoporosis, and there will be a thinning of this outer hard layer, that is the thinning of cortical bone you can observe. And because it will be thin, the cortical bone is thinned down, and then the central part, that is the Haversian canals, there will be a widening of these Haversian canals. So all these changes in the bone leads to the increased risk of fractures. Okay, the bone becomes more fragile. Okay, that's called as a pathological fractures. Okay, and this usually is more prominently observed in the vertebral column and the shoulder bone, and then in the rib cage, ribs at the rib. Okay, because all these especially have got spongy bones which are at higher risk. Okay, and then some of the factors that affect this bone mass loss and increase of osteoporosis, the factors responsible for the increased risk of osteoporosis are low estrogen levels. That low estrogen level usually is observed after the menopause. Okay, and then low serum calcium and the alcohol consumption, increased smoking, and some drugs like glucocorticoids, which reduces the absorption of calcium from the gut. That is they are the antagonists of vitamin D functioning. Okay, and some other drugs like heparin and L-thyroxine. And some other risk factors which cause the osteoporosis is that physical inactive people, that especially the astronauts, like which at a zero gravity level have got a very less muscular skeletal system. Because lack of stress, and that increases the bone deposition, and there, because of the physical inactivity, there will be an increased bone resorption only. Okay, and some other diseases like Turner syndrome and hyperprolactinemia, Lifter syndrome, Cushing syndrome, and diabetes mellitus. Some of these diseases also cause the are the some risk factors for the osteoporosis. So in osteoporosis, usually it's classified into two. That's two types of osteoporosis are there. One is post-menopausal osteoporosis, and the another one is senile. In post-menopausal osteoporosis, basically what happens here is that there will be a reduced estrogen production. Okay, after the post-menopausal, mm, um, there will be a very reduced estrogen production, which in turn leads to the increased bone resorption. Breakdown is increased because of the lack of the estrogen hormone. Okay, whereas in senile osteoporosis, especially which occurs at the 8th decade of life, that is at the age of 80, the osteoblasts loses the capacity to form the blood, form the bone, whereas the osteoclasts maintain their regular function. So because there is a reduced efficiency of osteoblast to form the bone, and normal level of osteoclast, that is the resorption is normal, so reduced formation leads to the senile osteoporosis. Okay, coming to some of the symptoms, usually unless until in the beginning you won't see any symptoms in the osteoporosis unless and until the bone undergoes a fracture. Okay, so the major sites where the fracture occurs is the vertebral column. That's in the vertebral. That's the either the compression or the fracture occurs in the vertebral column. Okay, this compression or the fracture in the vertebral column usually causes a lower back pain, especially, and then either you will have a reduced height. It reduces the height and you will have a backache, and some other bones which are affected due to this osteoporosis is femoral neck bone, and then the distal radius. This is the one. So these are the next two bones which are affected due to the osteoporosis, and usually this fracture is observed more in the post-menopausal osteoporosis. So this is how the deformity looks like in the vertebral column. At the age of 55, it's straight, and then the slowly compression of these vertebral column leads, and at 65 and at 75, considerable reduced height you can see here. Okay, due to the compression or the fracture of this vertebral column. Okay, so overall summary of this osteoporosis is that the main thing to consider here is that there will be a reduced bone density, which is result due to the increased resorption of the bone, and there will be a reduced formation of the bone. Okay, so the major changes that occur in osteoporosis is that there will be a thinning of cortical bone, the outer layer, and widening of the Haversian canals. Okay, and there is a very much reduction in the trabeculi. Okay, that is the spongy bones, number of trabeculars will be reduced here. And two types of osteoporosis will you can see, that is, one is postmenopausal and the another one is senile, and the most common fracture you can observe in vertebral compression. So this is all about the osteoporosis.